All right, gentlemen, here we are. An early class, thanks to Ezra Ezra. Our usual Wednesday night class. It's September 21st, 2011, a week before Rosh Hashanah. Before we jump onto the topic of tonight, last week when we were discussing Et Sha'ari Rason, Marky asked about the author, okay, who was the poet of Et Sha'ari Rason. Checked a lot of different sources, and the poet actually was originally from Fez, Morocco, and later on he moved and he ended up spending the end of his life in Halab, and that's where he passed away. Okay, so besides Et Sha'ari Rason, some other compositions of his, different pieces of interesting poetry, are in Mahzur Aram Soba. Okay?
What year?
He passed away around 1175. Okay?
So did we establish his name? Because it wasn't quite sure.
Most probably it's Yehuda bin Shemuel bin Abbas. Okay. That's what it would seem like based upon, this assumption that he was the same guy that was born in Fez and moved later on and ended up in Aleppo. No matter what it is, it's a song that has been embraced by all Sephardic communities, worldwide. Okay, even Spanish, Portuguese, in London, Amsterdam, every place. Okay, now getting back to tonight's topic. God willing, we'll be sitting at the table, and for some reason this comes up year after year after year. What do we do? What don't we do? What do we eat? What don't we eat? How do we eat it? How don't we eat it? When do you say yirason, not yirason, beracha, not beracha? What have you? Some people couldn't care less. Whatever the book says is good enough for them. Some people don't want to bother with it whatsoever. Everybody has their thing.
Do we do it both nights?
That's another thing. All right. Some people don't do it at all. How about that? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to try to touch upon different subjects. We'll first look at some Keter Shem Tov, and after Keter Shem Tov, we'll see where we go from there. All right, depending on time and the materials on hand. Okay.
Shift the lineup.
No, there's no lineup over there. There's just stuff I took with me to hopefully make copies of certain sections. I never had a chance. Keep going around. Come on. Yeah, everything's good. Everything's ready. Everybody got a set? Everybody has a set, right? Good. Yeah, everybody has a set there, right?
You should have told us to bring our book.
I'm good. Hello, I didn't know what I was doing until 7:30. Okay. Don't worry, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Marky, read for us. Chabod.
מנהג הספרדים בארץ ישראל
בסוריה, תוגרמה, מצרים. תוגרמה is Turkey.
בשני לילות ראש שנה מביאים על השולחן מיני פירות וירקות והן תפוח, קרטי, סלקה, תמרים, חירה, דגים, ראש כבש ורוביה. ובליל שני ראש שנה מוסיפים על אלו המינים גם זיתים חדשים ונוהגים לתת על השולחן כערה ובה סוכר, וכשהבעל הבית מברך המוציא במקום לטבול פיתו במלח טוב לו בסוכר. אבל ספרדים
בלונדון ואמסטרדם
אין מביאים מינים אלו אלא טובלים פיתם בתפוח המטוגנת בדבש.
Okay. First thing that Rabbi Shem Tov Gagin is telling us that the custom of the Sephardim in Eretz Israel, in Syria, in Turkey, and in Egypt, on both nights of Rosh Hashanah, they bring to the table a variety of different fruits and vegetables. Among them, apple, leek, Swiss chard, date, gourd, fish, the head of a sheep or a ram, rubia, how it will be translated is another issue, but for now we're going to say black-eyed peas. And on the second night of Rosh Hashanah, they add, besides everything that we mentioned, also new olives. And there's a custom to bring to the table a platter, and you have sugar on the platter, and when the head of the household makes the beracha of Mosseri, instead of the usual dipping of the Mosseri into salt like we generally do, he dips it into sugar. But the Sephardim in London and in Amsterdam do not bring all these various fruits and vegetables to the table. Rather, they dip the bread into apples that were cooked with sugar. It was cooked with honey. That's how he opens up. Obviously, he goes into the detail afterwards. Alright, so now, starts. منهاج شنهاجو سفردين بيسرائيل بسوريا تقرب مصرايم لا علوت الشوحنا منيم إلو شسخانو هو منهاج عتيق يومين بكبار سركابو سيبا مهوسكرو ربان بالجمارة أما ربيه هشتا دا سيبا ملتاهي يرجل إنيش لميخال رشتا كلا بروبي كرتي سلكا بتبنيه بالجمارة شام كتابه يرجل إنيش لمحسيه ميخين جلسات عروخ ومحزوب فيدري شلهم كوريس لمحسيه فلو الميخال كلو ماشي يرجل إنيش لهزين عناف مهم بعريختنا شلحانو مسيخ الأخلام بخير كم كين جساد مارانا بيت يوسف تيجي جساد سفرين ديدان بجماران المحزاب بمكون الميخال بخير كوريس بسفر كولبو من دبري إلو هريشوني مش ماشي بمهم لو يقدر كام ليخو مينيم إلو كيفان شيكوها عرخا زو هيتا راك لسان بعلمه بتوش عروخ بسين الميخال بعد جساد زو يستو أحركه يراسون على كل مين ومين أين برختوها ريويالو. Simply put, that the custom of the Sephardim that we mentioned above is not some new custom that came about recently. It's a very, very ancient custom, and it's already mentioned in the Gemara that Abaye said, and I was mentioned in two different Gemarot, and we're going to look at the difference between them as well. The first Gemara we're talking about is in Masechet Kiritut, and Abaye said, since you mentioned that it's a good thing to have good omens, alright, or good symbols, good symbolism, if that's the case, then a person should make himself accustomed to eating at the beginning of the year these things. What things does he enumerate? The kera, which is the gourd, the rubeh, which is saying black-eyed peas, the karte, the leek, the silka, the Swiss chard, the tamreh, the dates. 5 things only. In the other Gemara, in Masechet Horayot, it doesn't say to eat them, but it says to look at. Okay, so in other words, they bring the stuff to the table, they look at it, alright, and they say the thing, nobody touches it, nobody eats it, nothing. It's very easy. You bring some, some raw fruits and vegetables to the table, you put it on, very nice. Second night, you bring back the same tray again, and everybody looks at it, then you're done with it. And this version of just looking at is not only mentioned in that Masechet Horayot of the Gemara, but it's also mentioned in numerous other places, including Maran in the Beit Yosef. And he writes that the version of our text and our books of the Gemara, and it would seem both Gemarot, both Kiritut and Horayot, is to say, it says lemehazet, to look at and not to eat. And there were some other books at that time period, and from this, Rabbi Shem Tov Gegin here deduces that possibly in their day, there was no custom of eating these things, and maybe the custom came later on based upon those people who had the Gemarot that said lemechal. Okay, so we have 2 different customs in play. Rabbi Shem Tov Gegin is of the opinion that maybe things weren't eaten until more recently. But obviously we're not sure of that, because we have earlier sources, Maran Shulchan Aruch sources, pre-Beit Yosef sources that do mention to eat them. Okay. Later on in the Tur and the Shulchan Aruch, they added that besides looking at them, which is a nice omen, also to say a Yehi Rason for every one of the species involved. And we're going to get to each Yehi Rason, what it means, why we say it, etc. Now, if we look at the Manhig, and Manhig is somebody we used to quote a lot in our earlier classes, okay? Ben Abraham HaYerhi, who lived in Provence, when we said it was around the 11th, 12th century. Okay? He doesn't say, not lemehazeh, and not lemechad. He doesn't mention to look at or to eat. What does he say over there? Look at the top of the next page. Meloshen Shebanu, Hu Katab, Kel Amrinam Benedarim, Hashata Da'amnu B'gomeh, Linkot Inish, Bere Shata Rubia B'karteh. Okay? we saw the two different Girsaot in the two different Gemarot. And I was saying the Sefer HaManhig, Rabbi Natan ben Abraham Yerhayi, tells us what? Linkot inish. He doesn't say to eat or to look at, but actually to hold, to place in your hand. Okay? So, you're holding these items in hand. Linkot inish bereshata rubiyah, because he mentions all the different items. And from this, we saw that Avi, he didn't have either version of the Gemarot that we have, but rather, each person should take the item in his hand. Now, if you look at...
It's a rough one.
Why is it rough?
The leak, the cord, you know.
Why, you don't hold it in your hand to eat it? I don't understand.
You don't use like a fork or whatever.
Every item you use a fork?
Okay.
No, not that. He's not.
Oh, okay.
Not
Here's an apple.
Okay.
So here's a date. A fork?
Oh, okay. Next, so you're holding it up, okay.
Besides, remember the time period we're dealing with.
Right.
Okay? There were no forks. Okay? A fork, when it became known, when it first appeared, which was in Italy, by the way, it was considered a devil's prong. Okay? It wasn't something that was commonly used. No, you're asking a serious question.
Because, when I ate with my Zambians in Washington, they were eating lunch with them, they were using their hands. Chicken and licking their fingers, eating rice with their hand. They don't use silverware.
People from Zambia? From where? Zambia?
Zambia.
Africa.
Zambia.
Yeah. These are government officials. Yeah.
Okay. So now, let's go to Abu Darham. Abu Darham, as we know, lived in northern Spain, 13th century, end of the 13th century, let's say, beginning of the 14th. كتاب يهي رجيل إنيش لمحزي برشتا. He says that a person should look at these items. Okay, the Geonim كتوب يخبنها كلها خميم. Okay, and he writes that in the Tishuvot of the Geonim that the custom of all the Hachamim that they bring in front of them, from themselves at the table of Rosh Hashanah, Tina, they bring a basket. Sheyesh bo dilu'in وفولها مصري وكريشين وشلاكود وتمارين. Okay, they bring a basket full of all these items in front of them. All the Hachamim get a basket, of items. ومنيحين يديهم على كل أحد وأحد منهم وسئم مش متم سيمان توب. They place their hand on each item. Like, nowadays you see rabbis giving berachot to persons, so they put their hand on the item to extract from each item the good omen. Development of what's going on over here. So based upon the tissue of the Geonim that Abu Darham brings us, we see that in the days of the Geonim, they were not eating them, but they would bring them to the table. Okay, and they had the basket, and they had these different minim, and they placed their hands upon them, and they extracted, the good omen from them. And during the course of time, the custom changed. And they began to say different verses of Yehirason as well as Pesukim that were appropriate for each one of the items at hand. And we're going to get to it. I'm going to start now talking about the tapuah, the apple. Now, why is he starting with apple?
That's what I want to know.
Good. That's what we're going to get to now.
Adam with apple?
We're going to get to that now. Now, has nothing to do with Adam, has nothing to do with the apple. Okay, because the book of Bereshit that I own says nothing about an apple. Does yours say anything about an apple? No. Yours? Says nothing about an apple. And nobody knows what kind of fruit it was. Alright? Maybe it was a fig tree. Maybe it was an etrog. Maybe it was a quince. We don't know. And you know what? Makes no difference.
Those would never happen.
No, it happens.
Recorded, by the way.
They went out. Alright, why the apple? Why is he starting with the apple? Okay, and if you notice, if you look a few paragraphs down, the next item that he brings is the karti, the leek. Alright, then after that you see the silka. Basically, he's following the order that is found in the Mahzurim. Now you're all going to tell me, wait, what Mahzur? Okay, you're all going to tell me what Mahzur. So now,
Mahzur, which one?
What Mahzur? Sephardim traditionally used, no matter where they were living, whether they were in Iraq, or in Egypt, or in Syria, or in Turkey, or in Italy, or in Vienna, Austria, or in Greece, or wherever it may be, the Mahzurim, the Sidurim, and we've mentioned this time and time again, were for the most part printed in Livorno, Italy. Different printing houses, but all based in Livorno, Italy. And then later on, once there was a major migration of Sephardim from numerous Ottoman lands to Vienna, Austria, and they had a spectacular Sephardic synagogue over there, they began printing Sephardic books in Vienna, Austria as well. Let's say beginning around 1875 or so. All these Mahzurim, every one of them had the same order. And it started with Apple, from there went to the League, from there went to the Swiss chart, etc. And I have tons of books inside laid out, to show you, to give you examples of them. So now you're asking about Sam Catton.
Right.
Okay. Sam Catton did not make his mahzur. Okay? It's no secret. Yahaskel al-Bag made the book. For the most part, it's based upon something called Minhag Halab. Is it correct? No, it's not 100% correct. Did they exclude things? Yes, they excluded things. Did they add things? Yes, they added things. As far as the order of the items that night, do they follow a particular order? If you go ask the people of Halab today, they'll tell you the order in this book is 100% incorrect. Okay? If you look at this book, though, what did they try to do? Since they're following, even in their font, the font of Livorno, more or less, it's not exactly the same. This is a special font that they had made by Maurice Jacobs in Philadelphia. They started with the Apple, then the Leak, and we'll keep going. They went to the Swiss chart, so basically following the order of Livorno and Vienna. That was in the books. So that's what they put in here, because that was the standard order that was in the books of the Sephardim. Okay? So now, you wanted to say something about the order that night?
Yeah, what was the question?
We started saying that we start with the Apple, and you said, no we don't.
Right.
But here's your book that you use. What are you going to say now?
I mean, yeah, 100% right. You can't argue with that.
I'm going to argue with it plenty.
Oh, we could
And I'm going to smash it. And I'm going to destroy it.
This book.
This book
No,
and
the
every
Apple.
book that has this order.
He's going to destroy the
And
Apple.
every book that has every order.
I should have brought my barcode, the pamphlet that had the order.
Guaranteed it's wrong as well.
Check it tonight.
Every one is wrong. Don't waste your time checking them. Okay?
The world is wrong. Not just me.
No, you just hate everything. Okay.
So nobody has it right.
Is there a right order?
Well, exactly. Why don't we establish
So what
that
do you,
these things
Is
are
there a
done
right
in
order?
a certain order altogether?
Right, that's the question. Is there a right order?
Is there a right order?
Right order.
We're going to get to that then. Okay? Go through the entire Kit Shem Tov at this point. Okay, we're going to look at the Tapuah first, because the Tapuah is something that's not mentioned in either Gemara, and it's not mentioned in Sefer HaManhig, it's not mentioned in the Abu Dirham that we read, it's not mentioned in any of these places, but lo and behold, it's the first item. How did this apple show up?
I
They
give
didn't
up.
have apples in the
Because you're dipping the
Babylonian probably either.
They didn't have apples?
Because you want to dip the apple in the honey.
They had it in Shir HaShirim, they had it in Eretz Israel. You don't think they didn't know about apples? The Gemara talks about apples in numerous places. They knew about apples.
Northern fruit, I thought.
Northern fruit. Sorry.
Not so tropical.
There is a place called Northern Iraq, Northern Babylonia. Okay, and it's very close to Turkey. And Turkey grows plenty of apples. Keep going, Mark.
Joey, you're on a roll.
No, I'm just in the
I think you
mood.
go around the table here.
Wait till the class is over.
Just one thing. Do you hate apples?
Not like that.
Okay.
What kind?
Not all.
No.
Okay, so let's see what he says about apples. تپوح بتحلات السعودة يعاسي دباريم شيعلو زخرون توب لفنه الشيم. Do things that will,
Remember, yeah.
make good, remembrance in front of God. What that means, hopefully we'll see. كيشوخيل التپوح متوجين بتباش. When you eat the apple that has been fried in honey or cooked in honey. بتاعم شبحرو بفريق تپوح. Why did they pick the apple? لفي شطات هم مكبلين. Okay, according to the مكبلين, the Kabbalists. التپوح رمز للشخينة. التپوح hints to the شخينة. شنكرت كال تپوحين. بعتاهي بسو دينا كشيا. And now it's in the realm of very, very strict law. وأخيل أوتا بدباش, and you eat it in honey, كيدي لهمتيكا, in order to sweeten it, soften it, to tone it down. مدينا كشيا لدينا رفيا, to bring it from a very strict judgment to a soft, more kind, and easier judgment. والتور شيبي من هاي أخيات تپوح بزدمنودزه. And the Tur is the one who brought us this custom of eating the apple. He's the one that mentioned it to us first. Katab. What did he write? This is his word. بأشكناز رجيلين لإخوة بتحلات السعودات تپوح ماتوك بالدباش. لو مار تحديش علينا شانات متوكا. Okay, in Ashkenaz, it is the custom to eat in the beginning of the meal an apple that is sweeter than honey, and to say that God should bring upon us a new year that is sweet. והרב דרכי משה כתב שם בשם מוהרי בטעם התפוח כדי לרמוז על שדה תפוחים הידוע הנרמז במקרא ראה ריח בני כריח שדה. Okay? And this goes back to a well-known verse in the Humash where I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Yaakov Avinu speaking to Ishaq, correct? That, here the smell of my son is like the smell of a field. Okay, but what kind of field was he talking about? A field of apples, according to the Mefarshim. Not a field, that has a rough type of smell, but a sweet, fragrant type of smell. But he didn't give us any source. Ayin Gemara. Okay, the Gemara discusses it. Which Gemara is it? Mafi, what do you got there? Where? I know. Masechet Ta'anit. Okay, the Gemara Masechet Ta'anit. ויאמر ريح بني كريح سده أشير بريخوه الشيم أمار بيهودا بيليد رب شموئيل كريح سده شل تپوحين في خلابة توسفوت شان ديبورا من الحيش تپوحيم يجب فين تپوحيم. Okay, there are those that explain. What does the Tosafot say? There are those that explain tapuhim, apples, not as apples, but kereyah etrogim, like the scent of etrog, of citron. V'ayin Tosafot dibura b'chil priyo kodem. V'al pi dibrei Tosafot shepreshu kereyah etrogim. And now, based upon this Tosafot that explains the Gemara as translating tapuhim as not apples but as etrogim, now I can understand, and reconcile the wording of the Tur. Because as we mentioned before, the Gemarot that we have only mentioned 5 things. But when the Tur mentions it, and Ketesh Tur purposely left this out before, he only brings it in now, for this punchline of his, the Tur mentions it as one of the things as etroga, as an etrog. And he goes, obviously I didn't make any sense of etrog. Nobody eats etrog on this holiday. Where does this thing of etrog come from? But now he found it in the explanation of the Tur, of the Tosafot, explaining or the Gemara of Re'ah Bani Re'ah, Kriyah Sadin, the Sadin is Tapuhim, and the Tosafot explains Tapuhim is Etrogim. Okay, so Etrogim, Etrogah, Kare Rubia. Hisham Beit Yosef Ya'il Lita Begemara Benusah Didan. And Beit Yosef says, the Tur mentions Etrogah, but our Gemarot don't have this wording of Etrogah. Now, as a side point, some of you know that in other places, especially in our forum, the concept of faulty readings of Gemarot have come up, different texts of Gemarot have come up. There's a French rendition, a Spanish rendition, different types of manuscripts. So this shows that at the time, pre-printing press, these Hachamim all had different manuscripts, for the Gemara, and obviously there were different readings. Which reading is correct, which reading is incorrect, how we derive the law from them, that's a different arena. But we actually, see that there were different readings. That the Tur had a reading in his Gemara that included the word Etrogah, and Maran the Beit Yosef, when he's commenting on it, says, our texts, obviously they all had manuscripts, don't have Etrogah. So we see that the Hachamim were aware that there were variant manuscripts and variant readings. So the first place that we get of eating the apple on Rosh Hashanah is from the Tur. Okay, but only eat the apple if you don't find the etrog. Etrog, according to the Tur, it would be the more proper thing to eat. Okay, but if you don't have the etrog, so eat what people generally call a tapuah. But really the tapuah the Gemara is referring to is a etrog. That's what the Tur wants to be telling us.
So the second tier fruit becomes the ikar today.
So it would seem. I guess it goes good with the little song in school. ועיין תוספות שהקשר רבנותם שהרי אנו רואים שגדל כשאר אילנות מפרש תפוח היינו אתרוג פריח הפה כתפוחים מתרגמינן כריחה דאתרוגה ואתרוג פריו קודם לעליו. Okay, if you look at the Targum, at the Pasuk, V'reich hapeh k'tapuhim, you see the Targum doesn't translate tapuhim as tapuha, but it translates as etroga, as etrog. So this concept of translating tapuah as etrog is not something that the Tur came up with, but it's actually something that we have, from a much earlier date in the Targum. V'yesh le'a'ir, and he wants to point out that in Shir HaShirim, metargiminan ורחהון יהי נדיף כרחד תפוחין ולא כמו שכתב בנותם כרחד אתרוגה. So again, variant reading even in the Targum. אבל מצאתי בשיר השירים שתרגם המתרגם כתפוח בעשה היער היא חימה דאי ומשבח אתרוגה ביני אדני שיחך. ולכנו אמר התפוח יהיה רצון מלוהן ולא אבותינו שחדש עדין שנה טובה ומתוקה מנשית השנה בדרך שנה ומברך ולפרי עיז ואוכלה. So we'll leave it at that. Basically, he's just showing us where tapuah came from. Really came because of two reasons. One, from the Mekubbalim, because the tapuah is a hint to the Shekhinah, and then we put it in the honey to sweeten the judgment that's upon us, from a harsh judgment to a softer judgment. And the first place that we really find this concept, though, of the apple comes from the Tur, who mentions it as Menhag Ashkenaz. And the real way, based upon our understanding of the Tur and the Tosafot and everything in hand, is that tapuah that they're referring to from this midrash is not a tapuah being an apple, but tapuah being an etrog. But if you don't have the etrog, and obviously it was very difficult in Ashkenaz to have an etrog, especially when they're trying just to get it, the few that they can for Sukkot, they're not going to take it and cook it up, and eat it beforehand. They're going to save it for the mitzvah of etrog. So how many people really had an etrog to fulfill this mitzvah that way? So they went with the second tier of using a tapuah as a regular tapuah. And in the last, let's say, 600-700 years, this custom has really come down to all of us. And even in London and Amsterdam, where they're very, very strict on only following, we'll call old Sephardic customs from Spain, and they've already done away with all the order of eating of all these other fruits and vegetables. The only thing they seem to be having is the apple. Okay?
Wow.
Interesting.
Everything else.
Everything's out. Everything's out. It's a very, very interesting thing if you think about it.
It is. Why that one tougher
Done.
more than anything else? Just
Because-
asking.
Why they?
Why that? Why did that?
It
become
seems like
Because think where you are. You're dealing with England, okay? Forget about Amsterdam for a second, but it's the same basic, climate. Not much grown there. 14th century, 15th century, 16th century, 17th. What do they have? Got apples. Dates? Nah. Figs? Nah. Pomegranates? Nah. What do they have?
Olives.
No olives, no. Maybe I got some pumpkin, maybe.
Potatoes.
You got squash.
Potatoes only came from here.
That leaks.
Yeah, they got leeks. They have cabbage.
Lots of cabbage.
So they cut out the minhag of saying the berachot. They don't have it. So they can
Hello, you weren't here. They only came in. We only find that in more recent sources of saying something. Let's say from the 1400s. So they may have left Spain before there was a custom established over there of saying the Yirason, and they didn't have that custom to begin with.
even saying even the apple.
Yeah,
Everything was.
you just had it. Well, you didn't say anything. Development of the religion is constant. Our religion is not stagnant, and that's why the law is obviously halakha. It's hodech. It's movement. Okay, it's not a stagnant religion. It's not we're stuck in some time warp someplace. We have to move. We have to, and we have to develop, and we have to reach out to the times and deal with the places, and the environment that we're involved in. Very, very simple.
To the destruction of the Sarah.
All right, state your question again.
How is it that the entire farming community pick up the apple from one man?
Okay.
When obviously must have been a custom prior to that.
Okay. First of all, they're not picking up the custom from one man. There was migration from Germanic lands to northern Spain. The Tur is a son of the Rosh. Okay? The Rosh, bin Asher, had a son, Yaakov. Okay, but Asher is the Tur. Yes, he was very learned, comes to Spain, they appoint him rabbi. Once you have a rabbi in place, everything, you want to say falls apart, you want to say develops, you want to say grows, you want to, whatever it is, everybody has a different way of looking at it. There's good and bad in each item. In any case, it was also a time where people were hungry for new things. The world was changing at that point for some reason. And very, very shortly behind that point was the advent of Gutenberg and his printing press. The Torah was one of the first major books of halakha to be printed. So it wasn't that it was... So yes, it was picked up maybe in Toledo, Spain, in that small area, and maybe spread out among some certain families, and via letter to one person here, one person there. But once they started printing press, and now you have a few books out there. Wow, it's nice. Yeah, they eat it. Sure, I have apples down the block. I could go buy some apples. Why not? It's a good thing. And then once you get the Zohar involved now, and the Zohar refers to the Shekhinah. Oh, let's see. Now we have the Shekhinah. And we're going to have a very, very, severe judgment from God. But if I'm going to eat this apple that's sweetened, I'm going to sweeten the judgment. People's minds aren't exactly working. Yeah, let's do it. And that's where we end up with everybody eating apples.
Okay, so here's the other question. What was before the apple?
Well, what was before the apple is everybody was eating other things.
Before the Torah migrated, what was before that?
They were eating other things. So they just added the apple to the rest of the items.
Okay, what was the first thing? The apple became the predominant first thing. Dip the apple in honey.
No, the apple did not become predominantly, in in place or the first item in the list because of the Tur. It became the first thing because of the Zohar.
Oh, okay.
Separate issue. The Zohar is what placed it on top. You can't put God, you can't put the Shekhinah at the end or in the middle. It has to be on top. That's where it came from.
That's a good point.
Has nothing to do with the Tur.
Instituted also?
We'll
Back
get
on.
to it.
Oh, back on.
Okay, now. Okay, we saw until this point that it's mentioned in the Gemara, all right, at least in two different Gemarot. It's mentioned by numerous Rishonim and Aharonim. Now, what about the Shilosha Amudei Hora'ah? Rambam doesn't mention it, the Rif doesn't mention it, and the Rosh doesn't mention it. None of the three mention it at all. But it's there in Shulchan Aruch.
Kabbalistic.
Has nothing to do with Kabbalistic.
It's usually the answer.
That's not the answer. These three individuals, the Shilosha Amudei Hora'ah, the three pillars of ruling, were there to lay down laws. This is not a law. Abaye mentioned it as something good to do. That's why it's not mentioned. Now, generally we know that the Yemenites probably adhered to Judaism in the most ancient form possible in our modern day and age. And they follow the laws very, very clearly according to Rambam as well. So, the best place to go and see is go see what the Yemenites do. Do they do this or don't they do this? They do it. It's not something they picked up from someplace else, and they're not doing apples either. They're doing just the items that are mentioned in the Gemara. And this is an ancient thing among them. Predates the Tur, predates Shulchan Aruch, predates all these things that, never really entered their lands. So we know it's something that was traditionally passed on in Judaism, at least from the days of Abaye. So it's a very ancient tradition among Am Yisrael. But again, it was a tradition. It was a custom. Same thing today we have many, many customs that are not mentioned any place, and people want to say, it's not a law, it's not mentioned here, it's not mentioned there, let's toss it out. You can't toss out minhagim. Some people want to say, no, the Beit Din didn't establish the custom. Beit Din doesn't establish customs, people establish customs. Your household establishes a custom. And if your custom does not go against the halakha, does not go against the Torah, and if it enhances the Torah for you and for your family, then it's something good. And it's something to keep. And it's not something to just trample on. I don't believe in these people that say, it's another minhag, throw it out. You have to keep the minhagim. Minhagim are very, very important. Especially they're a connection for the common person to much of the Torah. And without these minhagim, something that the simple person can grasp onto, you lose them totally. So you need to keep the minhagim in place. And something simple like this, bring special foods to the table for the holidays. Say Yirasson on it, that we're going to have a good year, that we're going to, have a positive year, we're going to have no troubles this year. Whatever the case may be, it's something good. Abaye mentioned it in the Gemara. It's something that obviously stuck. And we've been doing it for the last, how long you say, Mark? 2,000 years maybe?
Well, at least...
It's not 2,000 years from the Gemara.
No, 1,200 years.
Nice one,
No,
huh?
1,500 years.
1,500 years
So,
from Abaye.
Geonim, at least 13, 14.
Exactly. Well, the Geonim were doing it. We know the Geonim were doing it because we have Tishuot of the Geonim that were doing it. So let's say I want to say that the custom was established by Abaye, based upon the Gemarot that we have. Pretty nice custom. Did Abaye establish the custom that we're still following?
It's funny because it's only it's a very modern Western concept just to undo traditions. You have conversos. You have Spanish people lighting Nerot Shabbat.
Mm-hmm.
Conversos from the ancient. They're still lighting Nerot Shabbat, and they're Christians.
And the Mexicans, yeah.
People have a very neat tradition. It's part of who they
course,
are.
100%.
Throw it away is a pseudo-intellectual corruption of you, and you're spitting on your grandparents.
But we all know many religious Jews, Sephardim, Ashkenazim, people that claim that they're the only, bastion of true Jewish faith in this world, that we live in, and they toss out things left and right. Because it's not written in Harambam. It's not written in the Rosh. It's not written in the Rif. It's not written in Shaharu. But it's there. It's there. We're doing it. Your father did it. Your grandfather did it. Your great-grandfather did it. What's the problem with it? Does it go against anything? No. Does it have a source? It has a source. Yes, it wasn't established as law. The Beit Din did not make it a minhag, because minhagim are made by people. And I'll reiterate that millions of times. As long as it doesn't go against the Torah, it's beautiful. Keep your minhagim in place.
And it doesn't even Harambam, like they quote, it doesn't say that Beit Din makes the minhag. It says, even quote Harambam, Heniach.
Mm-hmm.
He allows them.
He allows them. They leave them. Exactly.
It was developed by people after the culture of the time, things like that, and the Beit Din will allow them.
Exactly.
Look at it. Does this violate law?
Exactly.
If it doesn't violate law,
leave it alone. And if it helps people, to cherish, the law and to bring the Torah closer to them, all the more so to keep it in place. It's a very good thing. As long as it doesn't bring in a negative concept. Okay.
They're probably more worried about idolatrous concepts coming in.
Obviously.
Is that why people don't do the second day?
Second day is a very, very simple thing. The Gemara says, the beginning of the year. How many beginnings of the year can you have? Beginning is the beginning. So, there are those people, Shahiyanu, you're saying because maybe this, maybe that. Yeah. Okay, and even that's not 100% clear, and that's why you got to bring the new fruit on the second night, and that. But the whole new fruit, the whole question of Shahiyan on the second night came from Rashi. Nobody else has a question. Rashi is the guy who came with the question about the second night, and then people picked up on that.
What do you mean, to make a second one, you mean?
Whether you're allowed to say Shahiyan on the second night. The law was make a Shahiyan on the second night. Rashi is the one who questioned it. And maybe Rashi's right, so to pacify his opinion, everybody go out and bring something new that night, just in case. But the law is there. So even if you don't have something new, you still say Shahiyan on the second night. Back to where we were, you were asking about 2 nights.
Yeah.
When 2 nights was established, maybe more recently than we can imagine, probably 17th century. Obviously it picked up in all places except among certain Halabi families, because not everybody from Halab has a custom of only one night. There are Halabi families that do one night, Halabi families that do both nights. Whatever, again, minhag. Whatever the minhag of your father was, that's what your parents did in their home, follow it. You have no reason to give it up, and especially as the family grows.
What's the reasoning behind it? I'm saying
behind what?
1 or 2.
We said one.
What you said.
One, because how many beginnings can you have?
One beginning.
You have one beginning. But some people want to say it's one long day. To Rosh Hashanah is not really 2 days; it's one very long day. So one long day. So we did it at the beginning of the long day, etc. Everybody wants to say, no, we have 2 nights at the holiday, 2 nights that we get together with the family. We have his side, we have her side. Why shouldn't we do it?
We don't like to do it on her side. That's why. It's a nice minhag.
Yes, your father did it 2 nights.
Yeah.
That's it. Your father did it 2 nights. That's what you do.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, of course, 100%. It's a beautiful thing.
It's one long day.
Right, but
How long
the
does
night.
it take, by the way? 5 minutes?
Literally 5 minutes, 10
More
minutes.
5
How
minutes.
long does it take?
Who's he eating with?
Exactly.
That's what Joey's reading.
No, it depends. You talk, the food tastes good, it's not good, last night was tastes different.
Hey, man.
Depends if you know what kind of food's coming out. If you want to rush it, you want to slow it down. No, I'll have a little more pomegranate maybe.
It take a little longer.
It's always different. All right, so we're discussing the supposed order of these things. What order is right? What order is wrong? Okay. Technically, there's no right order. Can we make a right order? That's number one. And number two, what is wrong with the order the way it stands?
I was waiting for you a big email to send out to the whole community as to questions.
I don't have time for that. Those days, long ago.
Oh, you're up from 3:30 in the morning. Waiting from 3:30 to 4:30.
3:30 is when I take my nap from 3:30 till 3:45. Then I go to Knis. Okay, next.
What's the difference if there is an order, by the way?
We're going to go through it.
Right,
We're going to
okay.
explain. First, we have to see if there's a problem. Well, and besides that, the question is when to do this. When? When is the proper time to do this?
Well, we do it right after Hamotzi.
After Hamotzi.
So you use it after Kiddush. Use it after Hamotzi.
That's when we do it. I'm saying it's the right.
You open your mouth.
After Hamotzi.
Forget about what it says.
Okay, I'm just telling you, that's what we're doing. We follow the book.
The book.
Okay, we will say the Mahzor. It's followed by the
victim.
All right, and what if I bring you out a whole bunch of old Mahzurim, and the book does not tell you when to do it? The book doesn't tell you when to do it.
I understand, but as you said, right, my father did it after Netilat Yadayim. So I'm following the minhag of my father.
Why?
Because that's the way he did it.
No. Why is that where he did it?
Why is that the way he did it?
Yeah.
Not part of the meal.
Excuse me? What? Because he followed the book, the Mahzor.
The Gemara and all the sources we read said what?
There's no...
What did the Gemara say?
We eat it.
What did it say? You have the pages.
What happened to it?
It's in front of you. The book's there.
Right.
Yeah, what did it say? You open the book. Very, very simple. What did it say? Okay? Person should be accustomed to eat at the beginning of the year. You make Kiddush. Can you eat now? You can eat.
Right.
What are you making Hamotzi for? Dessert. That's another opinion.
And then Netilat Yadayim, does the Hamotzi cover?
Does the Hamotzi cover?
Does it cover everything?
Hamotzi covers items that are eaten as part of the meal, eaten with bread.
Right.
Yeah. When's the last time you ate dates and bread?
Right, stuff it.
When's the last time you ate apples and bread?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's part of the meal.
So we have now, after Kiddush, even though he didn't want to say that,
No,
we have after Hamotzi.
No, I'm with him.
Okay, we have after Hamotzi.
I'm with the Netilat Yadayim.
But according to the Gemara, it's after Kiddush technically. We have for dessert over there. Anything else?
I go what you do.
No, I would follow. Sorry to say, I have to follow this. I'm following it. What does he do?
I don't know.
You didn't hear that yet. It's going to be somewhere in between after a while.
David eats when Sophia says it's not David.
No, she just tells him, don't touch that.
To me, it will make sense to do it after Kiddush.
After Kiddush, see? Before
That
Hamotzi.
makes sense.
Okay, before Hamotzi then.
But you know, I like his order.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to say, Barry? Come on, spill.
This whole thing with the apples first, you got me thinking, wouldn't the dates go first?
That's another idea to think
The
about.
apple?
That's another thing to
The
think
Mosseri
about.
says the date should go first, I believe.
Oh, yeah, it says. Where did he get it from?
Where did he get it from?
Yeah.
From John Mosseri.
No, not for me. Absolutely not for me.
I don't know. I was reading
Howard, yes, from where?
Give me some sources.
Iraq?
Iraq. Don't they grow a lot of dates over there?
Yeah.
Isn't the Ben Ish Chai from there?
Yes.
Maybe we should look what Ben Ish Chai says.
Why not?
We will.
Let's do it.
You
I don't
understand?
know. I'm still following the stand cat and Mazur.
We begin to touch on it, and we already have questions.
Right.
Who's the youngest guy here? Ralph? How old are you?
26.
Oh.
So for the last, let's say, 20 years, You've been doing this without thinking. You've read Sha'arit Ason without thinking, and you're doing something at the table which you're not even sure.
Without even know what you're doing.
Forget about the rest of us that we're really not thinking for longer than you.
Married?
It's an issue.
No. You married?
He's on his way.
He's got a few more left.
Sorry.
Don't do it.
So, good luck.
Enjoy life if you can.
Yeah, for now. Because it's over.
Keep this recorded.
You think the ladies listen to this?
Yeah.
All right.
They
Time
tuned out.
to show me when everybody says these better.
All right. No. The question is not when everybody says it. Again, we have minhagim, obviously.
Right.
But we said minhagim are good if they don't go against halacha.
This is not right.
Okay.
And the Kabbalah.
So it's not going against halakha.
And the Kabbalah.
Could be.
Going against, it's not halakha, it's minhag.
Let's wait and see.
I gotta get Solly to this class.
No, yeah. Solid won't be able to handle it. He'll go back to Jack Vader with it. Won't work. Yeah. Okay. So, first thing is...
The deaf? Who's that?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
A few questions first. Okay? You don't have sheets. I didn't have time to prepare, and there were too many different things to copy. Now, we know that to eat wet things, or things that we dip, we must wash, right? Don't we wash for karpas?
Yes.
Let's assume that most of us are dipping an apple into
The honey.
Some of us not going to use honey, some of us are going to use sugar. Some of us are going to do something else. Some of us, God knows what they're going to do, okay? But everybody, things get mixed up on your plate and things touch each other and whatever the case may be. Okay? So, you need to do Netilat Yadayim for dipping.
Okay.
Yes? No?
Same one.
For dipping,
Yes.
even if it's sugar?
For dipping into a liquid.
Honey. Okay.
Okay?
So now
Honey
liquid.
is a liquid.
Okay.
Okay? And obviously this is something that is a regular halakha and shaharuch that we do follow. Even though most people don't think, and many times they will dip something into a liquid, without paying attention, without washing their hands. But technically, according to the halakha that we follow, we need to wash our hands, ritual washing of the hands, before we dip something into a liquid to eat it. Now, among these species, and we didn't go through all the different items that should be on the table or not on the table, or whether they should be on the table at all. The items that are listed in most mahzurim to eat all include apple, and they all include dates. Alright? We have a law of the minim, of the species that Eretz Israel was praised with. Right?
Right.
Gefen, Te'ena, Rimon, Zetcheven, Devash, etc. Okay, so Devash is the honey. Okay, the honey of the date. So, and the date is, we have 2 times the word Eretz in that pasuk. And the law is the words, the species that are closest to the word Eretz are the ones that come first when you have to eat something. If you have these specific species on the table, that's what you have to eat first. That's the law. And if you have that type of item on the table and you have a non-species on the table, you're supposed to eat one of the species of Eretz Israel first. So now if you have dates and you have apples, so according to the law, you gotta have the dates first, right? So, order over there. I see apples. Okay? So the halakha does not look at the apples being the Shekhinah. It looks as the halakha being that temarim are the item that was, an item that Eretz Israel is praised for.
Supersedes
praised
the
with.
tapuach?
According to halakha, yes.
So it supersedes
this concept
of the mikbalim.
Right, because the mikubalim refer to the Shekhinah as hakal tapuhin kaddishin. It doesn't say eating an apple is the Shekhinah.
Right.
Okay? But they want to say now, because it's the holiday and the halakha is what? It's Yom HaDin. Okay, so Yom HaDin, the Din is always a strict Din. It's a strict law, strict judgment. So we want to sweeten it. We're going to take the Din of the honey, of the apple, and we're going to dip it in the honey to sweeten the Din. Okay, that's not really what the regular Zohar would talk about, but this is an interpretation of the Zohar. So first we need to wash for dipping. Okay. Second we have, halakha is that you have to have pirot of Eretz Israel, of the, of those minim, have to come before a non-min. Number 3. Now, what about how much are we going to eat, depending on what time of we're going to eat it? Do we have to say beracha haruna? All again, it all depends when we're eating. Right. We have the issue of whether the item is something that is eaten as part of the meal or not part of the meal, and would it be covered by hamusi or not covered by hamusi. We have the issue of the hirason. When we say the hirason is for us, not for God. When we make a beracha is for God. Now, let's say we have, Abi's book in front of him, because this is the book of Sam Catton, the book that his father used, etc., etc. I don't know what his father did before 1970, because the book didn't exist, but it's okay.
The manuscript.
Not exactly. Anyway, the book tells you over here.
Yeah, I know the book he used. I'm going to look at it.
I know the book he used too.
That blue book. I know, I forgot the name. Yeah, that's it. That's the book.
Open it up, has his name in it.
Maybe he gave it to him.
No, it's a grave digger. When you talk about grave diggers, that's a grave digger.
That's it, that's the book.
I know what
he had this for this, a kippur, he had the...
Actually check the name in it. Actually check the name
in it. He used to use this book. He didn't even use the Ma'azor, by the way. Even if they... I think he just bypassed about Ma'azor. Very funny.
I know what to bring to the table. Okay, so now, if you look at the Mahzor over there, what does it say? It tells you, okay, wait. It says, take the apple, and say the hirason. From the hirason, go straight into the beracha, and then you eat it. So now we're saying, God, hold on a second, I gotta bless myself first, then I'll bless you, then I'll eat. Is that proper?
No.
Big problem.
That's why you look at it.
What? Why?
When else would you do it? We're going to do it after you eat.
Okay, 1 second. So now, okay, you know what? Hashem, I'm going to make the beracha of ha'is first. Okay, I'm going to say ha'is first. Then I'm going to say hirason, and then I'm going to eat it. Wait, that's ifsek. That's interruption. You can't. You have to make. I got a problem. Okay, next problem. Wait.
More problems.
There's a lot of problems we're finding so far.
We didn't even get to that.
Well, the point is not moving ahead. The point is
notes.
That's just corrections in the book. But don't worry about that.
He was 12 when he wrote it.
And 3/4.
I'm not joking.
I believe it.
All right. Then we're going to touch on the Ben Ish Chai for a second, because the Ben Ish Chai tells you to do the dates first, right? Barry?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay.
We don't do that.
Yeah, you have number 1. Right.
We don't do that.
Ben Ish Chai, though, says to do the dates first.
And to come with that?
Where do you think Chamalia got it from?
I'm almost positive we do the dates first. We do the dates first. Apples are mixed in somewhere later.
I have to check.
Yeah, you do that. I'll have Ben Ish Chai inside.
What does it say there? Whatever he says is the Ben Ish Chai.
Date. There
you go.
Well, that's my one. That's a good printout. Yeah, that's the right order.
It does. Enjoy it. All right. Anyway, so what does he tell you to do over here? At least what the Ben Ish Chai tells you to do is take a date, say beracha ha'is, and then eat it. Then take another date, say the hirason, and then eat it.
Oh wow, very good. That makes sense.
Sorry.
When is this?
Say that again.
When is he prescribed to do it?
Say that again.
When is he prescribed to do it? I believe the Ben Ish Chai says it after hamusi.
Eat another date.
After hamusi.
Beracha, eat the date, iratzon.
Another date.
Another date.
Okay?
So why are you going to do dates?
Shouldn't you eat it before? It's funny no one deals with the hamosi. They should do it before hamosi.
Oh, you do it before hamosi.
But then you can have your kazayah.
Hamosi to eat with the meal. You ate hamosi, you're not eating the meal. Eating fruit. You should do like Mosseri, right? Though a lot of the Egyptians they eat, they have mazah between the Safis.
The Moroccans do
say
that.
kiddush, they have mazah, then they say hamosi.
Well, the hamotzi is covering everything else.
Like it's like the Mishnah.
Covering everything else.
No.
No, we don't eat.
Well,
The point was the Ben Ish High. I shouldn't have interrupted.
It's okay.
But the point, it's funny. No one, anybody address that? You have anybody? On the
We address everything. Don't worry. Everything gets addressed. Problem again with doing it pre-hamosi. Okay, you're running into people not washing their hands. People aren't getting up on Pesach to wash twice. You have half hour in between the two washings on Pesach. So you're not getting people up to wash twice. That's number one.
If we put it in the book, people do it. They told you to do it, they do it.
Yeah, okay.
You're right.
why?
You're right.
One minute. But why do you want to mess things up for people?
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, you're running into the problem of beracha haruna.
It's more than a
And that will happen.
For
If
the
you
date?
do for everything.
For everything.
For anything.
We
Okay?
can't consider
You
it
think
part of
people are going to say ha'is and they're going to say nefashot?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think
So
so.
why can't you keep it as part of the meal then?
Good.
Keep the
That's what
whole
we do.
thing as part of the meal.
Okay,
Right.
so now it's part of the
That's
meal.
what we
do.
So now you want to say, do it after hamusi.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we run back to the problem of what's first, the
What's the
yirason,
difference? Okay.
or the yirason,
Right.
or
the beracha.
the beracha.
Does it do
Okay.
hamotzi?
What is
Right.
it?
What is it?
What's it do with
What's
hamotzi?
Hamotzi.
Hamusi, yirason, or the beracha. Why? You're saying what do you call it? Why you eat? Again, do you eat dates with your meal? Hamusi is not going to cover your dates. Hamusi is not going to cover your
That's why you're
apple.
saying,
Hamusi
that's
is
why you're saying ha'etz. It'll cover everything else. Ha'etz is covering the apple and the date.
okay. What else is it covering?
Nothing else. Everything else is good.
Everything else is good.
Yeah. What? What's wrong? The tongue, the Swiss chard, the lubier. What?
Tongue, head, man, head.
Whatever.
Okay, the meat's covered.
The meat's covered. What? The spinach. What's
These
wrong?
had them. I don't know.
What's wrong?
So it's the
No,
dates and
I
apple.
don't see anything wrong. I think it's covered. I think everything else is covered.
You think everything's covered?
That's what I think. Yes.
I don't think everything's covered.
Okay.
What's not covered?
Let's go through the items.
Let's go.
What do you got?
Black-eyed peas.
Yes.
Black-eyed
Black-eyed
Black eyed
peas.
peas hit you in the meal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us deal with the gourd.
I don't think we
Right.
ever eat it
Let
at
us,
any
you
time.
don't eat the most delicious item on the table. Let's deal with the gourd.
Okay.
The gourd's eating a part of a meal?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I don't
Yeah,
see
we
any
have it.
problem.
Kusa, you never have
Eating
kusa?
kusa?
Gourd?
That's what you eat?
You eat the gourd, by the way. Yeah, no, it's not kusa.
Okay, thank
Gourd,
you.
it's an idjit.
No.
That's
that's-
It's an idjit. Hold
No,
on.
it's
That's
not.
the karti.
I'm waiting. All of you guys are sleeping. Come on, wake up.
Gourd is a squash.
The gourd is a squash, right?
What kind
Okay.
of squash is it, gentlemen?
It's like a spaghetti squash. It's a wet.
Yeah, okay,
that
you want
wet
to call it a
squash.
squash. You want to call it
It's not
spaghetti.
zucchini?
It's a long
Acorns.
It's a long crook neck squash,
Let's
okay?
try it.
But it doesn't make a difference what kind of squash it is. The point is, it is made into what? Sweet. It's not part of the meal. So you have a
What's
ha'is
the
problem.
beracha? So that's a,
You have
what's the
adama
beracha on
problem.
that?
Adama.
Okay.
So you know how you have your ha'is problem, you have your adama problem.
Okay.
All right. So yeah.
I don't think we don't make it sweet.
I don't know how you make it.
I'm just
I
saying.
didn't eat with you.
No,
so
Just blow up
you're
the night.
invited though.
thank you. Is your mother going to be there?
No,
So Julian doesn't know how to make it. Next.
phone call. You're right. I won't say that.
No offense, John. I'm sure she cooks very well, but I'm not. She's not following.
You're right. No, we just all I know is we boil it and we put salt. That's it.
Mhm.
Even with the spinach and we use spinach. We don't use Swiss chard.
We're not talking about the Swiss charge now.
No, I'm
We're
just saying.
back to the gourd.
Wait. Okay. Let's back up. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying you have a problem with beracha achrona?
I don't know.
Bechacharona is different.
Okay. So say
Eating
it.
this one.
Say it.
Are the people going to eat enough or not enough? Are they going to make bechacharona, not make bechacharona?
I thought.
Yeah, that's probably.
People are going to eat enough. They're going to eat enough. Okay.
Yellow.
Make
Do you have to eat it?
What? You don't have to eat anything.
Okay.
No, that's not a gourd.
That's not
Good
good.
try though.
That's not a gourd.
No, that's a green spot.
That's not a gourd. You want me to get you a picture of a gourd from inside?
I have
So you have a problem with two, you said, right?
Yeah.
The gourd and the Swiss chard, right?
No, that's only
The
the
apple,
gourd.
the date, and the gourd.
Okay, so say
And the pomegranate.
And the
What's the
pomegranate.
problem?
All right, do you do it?
No, because I really thought that the hamotzi covered everything.
But the hamotzi doesn't cover the. So now, your book is telling you to make the hayis.
Right,
It's not telling you about the adama.
right.
Okay?
Right, because they're not saying
Good.
that
All right, so now,
the
what?
gourd is, right. They're not giving you
I'm
adama.
saying what you do. I'm just
So
trying
are
to
they
get it
saying?
around.
So now they're saying that Netilat Yadayim covers. Is this what the book is
Well,
saying?
obviously, the Netilat Yadayim will
Obviously,
definitely cover.
yes.
Of
Covers.
course, the Netilat Yadayim. Once you're doing hamusi, you get rid of the Netilat Yadayim problem.
Right.
Okay. So now, let's deal with it very, very simply. And it's a very, very simple way to deal with all the problems. And you have no problems whatsoever. Okay? Well, first of all, you don't have to eat.
Right.
If there's anything that you don't like,
You don't have to. Right.
you don't have to eat it.
Okay.
You look at it.
Custom.
The Gemara says,
Right.
"Lebehazeh."
Right.
Eat it.
You want to be like the Geonim? Touch it.
I want to get a 10.
Put your fingers.
You're laughing about the tinning.
I love it.
The Libyans still do it.
With the what?
The Libyan Jews do. They bring a basket,
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
nice custom.
and some Tunisians as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I know that all the Libyans do it. Nice.
Alright, so let's clear this up.
But this up very simply.
One second.
First
I
of-
got to change this.
Very, very simple to deal with it. And the solution is not from me. The solution comes from different Hachamim. You have Cham Rafel Harun ben Shim'on, who mentions it in both Shar HaMifkad as well as Nahar Misraim. And you have Rabbi Yosef Mesas, who mentions it as a manhag of his father. He mentions it also in a couple of places, but mainly in his Nishmat Hayyim. And there were a few other Hachamim that I could find you their exact sources. But it's a very clear, simple thing. You want to make things as pleasant for everybody there, and you want to follow the halachot without having any problem. So first of all, you have Kiddush, Netilat Yadayim, Hamusi, no problem. You have nothing else on the table. Some people, you walk into the holiday night and they have all these things on the table already. Okay? You walk in, like it's a dessert table when you walk in the house. Like, what's going on? Stuff's down on the table. After Hamusi, bring something different. Something that is not part of these special items to the table to make ice on it. Okay? No, the olives, you say, what do you call it? Olives will be covered by Hamusi. Olives are eaten with a meal.
An orange.
Grapes. Simple. And not black grapes, because you don't have anything dark on the holiday. You have to have green. Green grapes. Okay? Then bring in, everybody takes one. Highest, thank you very much. We don't need any more grapes. And we don't need any, and ice covers what anything else we might have that's highest. Okay? Then, no, you don't, fine.
Oh,
that's
okay.
And you don't, that stuff's not out yet. Then you bring an adama item, let's say watermelon, bananas, whatever the case may be. It's not something that's eaten with the meal. We're making adama. We cover our adama. We're done. Then bring out all your items. Then you can do at that point you can do any order you want. You're only saying Yehirasons. And you can do any order you want. You want to follow the Mekubalim, follow Mekubalim. You want to follow Chamadiyah. You want to say, we're going to we're going to draw lots out of a hat, and who's going to say what thing? Here it comes. Fine. But you're covered. You said you did your Kiddush. You didn't tell Yadayim. You're not making two Netilat Yadayims. You did your Hamusi. No problem. Here we made Ha'ayis. We made Adama on things that are not part of the thing. So we're not saying that, no, it's one of the Shva'aminim, not one of the Shva'aminim. We're not mixing, we're saying this before that. We don't have to say Yehirason in between or before or after or eat it twice or eat anything. Everything's finished. Bring out the special stuff for the holiday.
So the stuff can't be on the table?
No.
Reason?
So wait, all these years, the last, I don't know how many years, it's like, I've been doing it the wrong way?
I didn't say it's wrong.
No.
I'm trying to show you ways that the Hachamim have looked for to correct the problems with it. Now, obviously some people over the years have introduced these things in their homes and have done it. Like it
all makes sense to me. That's why I'm asking you. What you're saying to me, Mickey, you're right. You can't interrupt the bracha, so you have to say the bracha dama etz first. You have to do all these things that I'm thinking about. You're right. Over all these years, we've been doing, yiratzon, saying the bracha, and eating it, or vice versa.
Because most people don't think before they do anything. Very simple thing.
I don't know if it's about thinking. I think they think it was covered by the netilat yadayim, and they thought by the hamotzi.
You're still making the bracha.
Right? No, you're saying hamotzi, but you're covered by you're covering everything.
Fine.
That's what people. That's
right.
What
okay.
people
So,
usually think.
All right, but now you still have the problem of the hirason beracha thing.
Right.
That's a problem.
Right.
And that's probably the biggest problem that our aharonim have been dealing with. Most books, when you open up, as a commentary on Shulchan Aruch or some other book of, holiday prayers, and they discuss different minhagim, they grapple with this issue: what to do, who gets the blessing first, human being.
They all say.
They're all confused. Everybody comes up with some sort of solution, but they all admit at the end that it's not the best.
But we stuck with it, she said. But we stuck with it.
No, we didn't stick with it. Every home is different.
What
do
they do? They say the beracha and the yiratzon.
Some people do. I've seen so many things, Avi.
Why do you have to eat the whole thing?
But the Ben Ish Chai, does he only say that you do that order for the dates, or does he say it for the other berachot?
No, he mentioned about the date only.
Okay.
Only about the date.
Okay.
Nothing else. Again, you're saying that the Iraqis do not have a sweetened form of gourd.
Right. So what's the actual reason
of
saying yiratzon before the beracha?
Because you can't make a hefsek between the beracha and the eating.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So that sounds pashut.
It sounds pashut, but then you're putting your beracha before God's.
It's funny because the Gemara doesn't say to eat it.
If you don't eat it, you don't have a problem.
This is to look at it.
One Gemara says eat, one says Gemara look.
Yeah.
You looked at everything, you don't have a problem.
If you're looking at everything, if you're only looking and you're not eating, you don't have to make the highest, you don't have to make adamah, you just eat hirason, and that's it.
You're just looking at it before you eat your meal.
It solves problems. But at the point that people started eating, that's it. And if your mother sat and cooked everything and you're not eating, you're in trouble. So you have bigger problems. Am I right or wrong?
And you can't bring anything out of the table till after all the berachot are made.
Right. After you make the ayis, because if you have, once you bring dates to the table, you can't say beracha on something else before the dates.
It's really the dates, not everything else.
Because it's a sheva minim?
Not only because it's sha'aminim, but again, the pasuk is eris, hita, ora, gefen, te'ena, rimon. Eris, zit, shemen, udbash. So the first thing, if you have all the minim on the table, let's forget about the hita and soda, the wheat and the barley. First thing would be what? First thing you have to make a beracha on is olives. Olives, right. Then dates. Okay? Right. So that's why another reason the olive thing's out. Okay? We don't...
Olive theory.
Anyway, so you have dates. Right. Okay? And then we go back to the gefen, te'ena, rimon.
Okay, so basically saying, if you walk into someone's house...
If you want something, now you have big problems.
Somebody else has it on the table. So your whole
scheme
your whole watermelon grape thing is out.
Right.
Yeah, unless you could change it. Unless you could change it, but it's not usually happening.
Usually the table's set. You get home.
No, I'm saying the table's set already. You walk in, the table's set. Right. You're not going to tell your mother-in-law throw everything back in the kitchen. Let's read it.
Or everybody
goes.
It's
too late. The table's set.
Everybody go in the kitchen.
Wait, can you tell them to take it off the table?
No,
and then
or everybody go in the kitchen.
Once it's on the table, it's on the table.
No, because you didn't take kedusha. You can take everything
off
the table. You can rehash anything. No, she's really good.
Can you explain again why?
Good.
Why again should the table be clear?
Because once the dates are there, you got to say it's. You can't say it's anything else.
Gotcha.
Simple enough.
Okay.
But then you went back to the other point you said. You could
Which
do
one?
the beracha, date, yiratzon, date.
Right.
Yeah, but you have the apple first.
Does that
hold on. You have the apple first. So how does that?
To the conclusion
But how does that trump the date? Trumping the date.
But the book.
The date.
Everybody's holding the book, and your book says apple.
Right. The date is supposed to trump the apple.
Right. Okay, but now we came to the conclusion the date trumps the apple.
Right.
But AB's book says to do the apple.
Okay. So, but regardless.
That's the same.
But what we said by if we decided to do the beracha first, eat yehiratzo next, eat.
But the book doesn't say that.
The book doesn't say to use a watermelon and grapes either.
Great, so now we agree that the books are
so
all
we
wrong.
understand the books are wrong.
Great!
We're past that.
I'm happy. I'm thrilled to hear it.
You have any right books?
No, they're all
All wrong.
I have about 50 different mahzurim inside, all wrong.
That's the issue. It's every house I eat, everybody has a different order.
I got that out the door.
No! The point is, I first, we'll call it discovered this solution, let's say 1982 approximately.
He was 12 years old.
No, 12 years old. How old are we, Abby? 15 maybe?
15, yeah.
15.
16.
Okay, that's when I first discovered it. And, okay, I got my parents do it, grandmother, well, okay. We went along with it. I changed it, yeah. I changed everybody. No problem. So guess what we gotta do? Okay.
Unbelievable.
We gotta do, no problem. Then I got year in Israel, okay. Alright, where am I gonna move for holidays? Okay, I'll be by some relatives, whatever. Relatives happen to be, wherever they were. Anyway, I got there. I can't open my mouth. That's where I am for the holiday. Like you're saying, you're going, whatever it is.
It is.
I get there. All of a sudden, okay, there's nothing on the table. So far, felt so good. After Hamosi, all of a sudden, the grapes and the watermelon show up. I'm like, yes! They found it too! I was thrilled. And they did the same thing. Like,
we didn't see it till you came along. What does your counterpart in Australia do?
I think he does too. I never asked him, but I'm pretty sure he does it too. Alright, but now, let's put aside all the wonderful things that we talked about. There are many people out there that do a million other things besides the items that we mentioned. Anybody do anything else here? No?
You mean a different order, you saying?
No.
What?
Different items besides these items, in addition to.
Can I see that?
This? Back to whatever's in the book. Okay. Good. So now, all the old books all have fish.
Okay.
Right. On Shabbat?
No, it's part of the thing.
Part of the thing.
Fish.
Okay.
None of you guys do fish?
We do fish.
We have fish.
My father-in-law had it on Shabbat. He did it.
No, I'm talking about for Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah Shabbat. He brought it.
We have fish. We have some fried fish.
We always have fish. It's part of
the fish.
Chacham Abediyah says it's nice.
Does he?
Yeah.
All right. Most of the Hachamim say not to have fish.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Why? Why do they say not to have fish? Because one place in the Tanakh, in Nehemiah, the word is not written as dag, dalet gimel, but it's written as dag, dalet alif gimel, a silent alif. Okay? So like da'ag. You have to, you have to worry.
Oh, wow.
So you're going to have a very worrisome year. So you shouldn't have it. Okay?
Right.
Exactly.
Unheard of.
But honestly, the whole thing makes no sense because everything we're doing is a play on words that night. Okay? Let's take the Salka, the Swiss chart. We say, what? She is Talleku Oibenu Biswani. Okay, let's take it. So, okay, she is Agu Oibenu. What's the problem?
Change the word.
Why does have the bad thing fall on me? Everything else is bad on them. So I don't buy the nonsense of not eating, the fish. We eat the fish and we enjoy it. We have a good year. Okay, but there's a million other things out there.
He says.
What did he say?
He says watermelon in here.
Oh yeah, that's not Ben Shai doesn't say watermelon.
No, but
such as watermelon.
It says like dates or other such fruits, followed by a blessing over a fruit of the earth, such as a watermelon, cucumber, melon, and the like.
Cucumber wouldn't work because cucumber is something you eat part of your meal.
So he's not probably looking at it.
He's not thinking the whole thing through.
Not looking at it from that perspective.
But it's close though.
Alright, but that's not Ben Ish Chai though. The Ben Ish Chai doesn't mention anything like that.
I wonder where he gets it. Because he's, 100% Ben Ish Chai. Well, at least
he claims. He claims.
Who's that?
Midrash Ben Ish Chai.
Some guy in Queens and Great Neck.
Yaakov Hacham Yaakov Menaseh.
So, what the real deal is, we don't.
What are the other items people
Infiltration.
Alright, other items people bring. Let me find my numerous lists here. Hold on.
When are you going to put your lunch sheet out? My question.
My sheet's going to be a book.
After we come to the conclusion that the date goes first. But actually, after we come to the conclusion that we say the grapes and the watermelon,
right?
The order means absolutely
what?
The order.
Right.
Now,
after that, you don't need an order.
So it can be any order.
Why not? Why shouldn't you still stick dates higher up in the roster?
You can if you want, and I do. But you don't have to.
So after the date, we say okay, the date's the best.
Notes this year.
After the date, don't matter. After the date, doesn't matter.
No, why? Then have the pomegranate. And that's just one of the highest roll. Then we'll do the apple.
See, okay.
You understand? No, not really. Where's my what's the word?
Doesn't matter. You said the berachot already. Why do you have to stay on the highest roll?
Off the top of my head, some things that people do. Obviously, that is the most common thing. As far as we were discussing before, the Gemara mentions rubia. We all know it as lubia, black-eyed peas. Not everybody uses black-eyed peas. Some people, especially Moroccans and other North Africans, they use sesame. Okay?
Sesame seeds?
Sesame seeds, and they usually mix it with sugar or honey or whatever it is.
This one says the beracha first.
Right.
Right.
I told you, it's Ben Ish Chai. It's exactly what I told you before. I wonder what your father did.
Yeah. But then the Mahzor came, so I don't know.
Anyway. Okay, and then Yemenites don't use black-eyed peas either. They use fenugreek instead, what they call halba.
This one.
Who uses that?
Yemenites. That's what they use. Halba. Fenugreek in English.
It's like a seed.
It's a little seed, and it's also very, very something like once you mix it with the water and stuff, it just starts growing and bubbling, on its own. So
So what's the meaning of rubia?
Well, the meaning of rubia is the name of the item, but the play on words is leharbot, to have a lot, to multiply.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Other things that people eat. People eat heart.
Oof.
People eat lung.
Oof.
Heart happens to be very tasty, by the way.
What do they say on those things?
I have all those things written down, but heart and lung happen. Ish Masliyah mentions heart.
How about oxtail?
Heart and lung.
Really?
Here you go, heart. اشتفتح لي بينهم بالتراب اسمها. اشتفتح لي بينهم.
So you gotta see the picture.
And for the lung, شتيه شنازو قلاع عليهم كريئة. To be a light year like the lungs of light, What else here? People eat eggs. That's
interesting.
Eggs.
You've seen?
Yeah, but
I've never seen
in
that.
the morning.
Yeah, that's interesting that it would be so juxtaposed.
What? Yes. I'm glad you brought it up. Okay, another place where the book is wrong, or at least the modern book, and the old books all had it. Besides the Hirason, there was, for most items, there was at least one pasuk that was also said. And many people still say them by heart because they remember them. Me, I'm talking about the older guys. Forget about me. Okay, there were pasukim. Not necessarily here. I'll get you. This book will have some.
Here he says for the ha'adama, he says do the same thing. First you say the beracha on the ha'adama, and then you.
What?
eat it, and then you say.
All right, here we go.
Because what else is there?
Right. Taking somebody else's trash.
Okay, here. Let's say for the karti, for the leek, okay, after you so and then say tarum yadecha saricha v'chol oibecha yikarechu. For the salka, suru minni kol po'adi avin ki shama Adonai kol bechi suru misham tamei tigau suru mitucha hibaru so kei Adonai. For the date, يتم حتى من الآرز والشعير والإلام والخيل في ضمان هذا الإله حسد خمسين وإباي هذا تاكل سرين أشي كني عبديخة. There's different pesukim for different things to say. Okay, we touched what are the items people say? Some people eat quince, some people eat figs, some people eat
head.
No, head. Everybody eats head.
Tongue.
Some people eat hummus. Some people eat fool. No, tongue people eat instead of the head, right. Because people for some reason they get thrown off looking at a head at the table for some reason. Some people have brain, everybody has their thing that they. But I'm saying, but there's different things. I even went on Wikipedia today, in the Hebrew Wikipedia, right. 3 pages of things, different things that people eat. Yeah, with all different yirasons and all different things. So, you want to have fun that night, and you don't want it to be a 3-minute ordeal.
Ashkenazim even have yirasons?
Okay, the Ashkenazim have much less items than us because they just didn't have foods available in the lands, but they do have, some yirasons. The funny thing is that both the Ashkenazim and the Yemenites have carrots. Okay, but the Ashkenazim use the carrots for their rubia because the Ashkenazi word for carrot is something to be, to multiply, and the Yemenites use carrot. Shetikra rowa gezar dinenu, gezar dinenu. Wow. What else?
Then you get the whole honey sugar thing.
Okay, before we get the honey sugar thing. There is a very firmly...
It's a good song, right?
What?
It's a good song.
Don't know which way. There's a very... What do you expect from Barkai? Bunch of modern Israelis. Okay.
The tape's still on.
I know that.
Kids learned today that you dip in sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, you know what? It's fine. And I've brought up sugar honey. You brought up sugar honey. Why sugar and not honey? Alright, maybe we can... Go
ahead.
Alright, so Ralph Nasser now asked about what's the deal with sugar and or honey. Malki, the same thing. What's the deal? Tell me.
It's a great song. All the teachers teach it.
I don't know, we've been doing honey since I was born, and then over the last couple of years...
We switched to sugar.
Switched to sugar. They're both on the table. Right. Some people dip in honey, some people dip in sugar.
Some people dip in both.
All of a sudden the song doesn't exist anymore. The song every single one to learn the nursery and kindergarten.
Every single Ashkenazi teacher teaches it to us. That's great.
Even Israeli teachers.
Even Israelis. They want to put honey, but it's the wrong divash.
Alright, we got you. Who else? I want to hear comments.
I heard one of the reasons
doesn't go against halacha, just dip it.
That we don't use honey is because you're not supposed to bring honey to the mizbeach or something like that.
Okay. What else?
Sugar's white.
Sugar's white. Anything else?
Brown sugar.
But in this Iraqi book.
That's a good song.
What else we got?
My favorite band.
Okay. As far as the song's always been around, I went to school just like the rest of you. I never heard the song till my kids went to school.
Okay.
So, no. The song hasn't always been around. You ever learned that song in school when you were a little kid?
I know.
Thank you.
I went to Ashkenazi school, I never heard that.
I never heard either. I went to,
and you went to real J-Dub school, yes.
I learned it in Deal, and I learned it when I moved to Brooklyn. So I learned it twice.
Deal? What do you expect?
I don't know. That's why I moved to Brooklyn. I was only 5.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so forget about the song part. The whole story with sugar versus honey. It's very, very clear that our minhag is to dip the bread, the hamusi, in sugar. We don't do it in honey. We've never heard of a custom to do it in honey. There's no Sephardim that do it in honey except for this London Amsterdam custom of dipping the hamusi in the apple that is cooked with honey. Okay? And they don't do anything else. Clearly we dip, because we always dip in a in salt, which is white. It's the same white. Everybody thinks it's, it's salt when, until they taste it. Oh, wow, sugar, it's great. Let me have another piece. Very good.
It's not that good.
Depends how fresh the bread is. The first night it was better. Okay. Now, as far as the apple, sugar or honey? Talk to me.
Say it doesn't matter.
I say it totally doesn't matter.
I'll honey it.
All right. There are two reasons.
Your rule.
Two reasons. Very, very simple. And the first place, or one of the first places we see it, and it's fairly early, Rabbi Haim Palachi, Izmir, Turkey. He told the people, don't use honey. Why not?
Health issues for children?
Wrong. Where were they getting the honey from?
Oh. Beehives.
No, they weren't. They were getting it from the goyim. Goyim, yeah, the honey guy is a goy. You think to go and get honey is a process. Costly process. It's very easy to have a little bit of honey and to add other things to it to make fake honey nice and cheap where you could, cash in. One of the easiest way is by using grapes. Cook down the grapes, you can make a special type of grape honey. And you mix it with some regular honey, and beautiful. You have a problem, obviously, of what? There you go. And he was aware of the problem. Obviously, he spoke to the Goyim, he'd really do it. He goes, yeah, sometimes we do it. We don't have enough, it's expensive, it's hard to get to, and, a lot of people want it. So it was a fact. So he didn't want the people to fall into the problem of Yayin Esich.
Okay, you don't have the problem now.
Very simple. Don't use it. Use sugar.
Sugar was more common anyway, so why even go to the honey? What's the question? Anything drawing us to honey?
Well, were we using honey when he said stop using honey?
Yes,
people were using honey.
People, exactly.
But any reason from the past?
Okay, that reason
we're going to get. Wait. Oh, you want to say why use honey?
Why not? Sugar is more common. It's
I don't know.
Not always available. It's more available, obviously, than the honey. So
maybe no. The truth is you're wrong. Historically, it was not more available.
Middle Ages, it was already. Acting 1500s.
But it's
no.
on the table when you have
You're very wrong.
They were after the. They were mining it from in South America and all over there.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. That's not Middle Ages.
Yeah, it's after 1400s.
Yeah. Until they got it, until it became common, it was still very, very expensive.
Right.
All the amazing sweets of the Ottoman Empire, all the things that were made and created for the sultans, were all done strictly with honey.
Which honey? Bee honey?
Regular bee honey.
Honey.
Bee honey.
Bee honey. Because we didn't want to give the goyim to buy from the goyim.
Not because we didn't buy from the goyim. Because we didn't want to fall into the problem of Yayin Esech, because they weren't giving us real honey.
They're giving us diluted.
Sometimes you would get real, sometimes you wouldn't get real. So the Hakam didn't want you to have a problem.
They didn't have to start caving.
Okay? Yeah.
On the honey.
That's number one. Number two, okay, and different Hakamim discuss this, and it goes back to Kabbalah. Okay? The sugar and the honey have different, if you want to call them, they're not ma'alot, they're in different realms. Whereas the Debash is in the realm of Gibura, the sugar is in the realm of Hesed. Okay? So again, if we're taking this apple now, and we want to sweeten the deen, we want to bring down the deen from a harsh judgment, harsh decree, to soften it, and then we're going to dip it into the honey, which is Gibura, which is strength and power and and toughness, doesn't work. So you got to dip it in the sugar, because the sugar is the Hesed, it's the kindness, it's the compassion. So that's where it comes from.
So do we do
from
anything right?
the sword.
So I start with that.
I personally dip in honey. I always did. I see no reason not to. I'm not worried about the honey that I'm buying, and I'm not eating these things because of the deen of the dinah kashia and dinah rafia, and I'm not eating it because of gibura and hesed. So again, if
my
you
kids can sing the song, we're okay with it.
They can never sing the song ever. Because if they sing the song, their tongues are going to be on Avi's plate. Their tongue.
Give me that mistake riddle of Machloek, please. Which one? This one? Yeah.
They all are.
No.
That's fun.
Okay, see, I think we cut. Oh, wait, no, we didn't finish everything.
There's more?
All right. Another point, and this seems to be becoming forgotten. I don't know, for whatever reason. There is a well-established, again, minhag, not to eat anything sour on the holiday.
Right.
Okay, but it's being forgotten because I'm always learning new recipes. I saw this, I read that. But we have minhagim, as far as the food is concerned, that we don't eat anything sour, we don't eat anything dark, we don't eat anything lemony, we don't eat,
No hamud.
No,
my dad said.
absolutely not.
What? No kebab?
Ask your mother if she ever served on night Rosh Hashanah.
Absolutely not.
Never. Guaranteed your mother never did.
Do it now.
They do it now. Who does it now?
Your wife does it now, yeah.
On the night of the holiday?
Barkai, that's why.
That could be.
What's dark about kebab then?
None does. Lemony. It's sour.
Make it a little sweet.
We had sugar in it. But
Add sugar all you want. It's still the name. It's lemon. How it means lemon? It means acid.
You gotta have hummus with that. Come on.
You don't have one. Ask your mother.
Could they get it?
Ask your mother. Guaranteed she'll tell you never ever.
Could they get it?
Call tomorrow.
Rosh Hashanah.
You don't believe me?
I'm
I'm going to bring out Grey Sasson for you and show you. I'm not going to bring out the other lights. If it's sweet, it's no problem.
Right.
If it's not sweet, no. Iraqis will not drink Turkish coffee. Nobody.
Because of the thing happened with Israel.
No.
it's too bitter.
No black olives. No black grapes. Black. Black ear.
What about a piece of meat?
No, minhag.
Minhag.
But the Hachamim mentioned it. The Hachamim all mentioned it.
Right. You have to have anything sour or dark.
Yeah. The Hidah talks about it at length, even. But again,
no lemon chicken.
No lemon chicken.
You can't squirt lemon on your fish?
Are you allowed to wear black soup?
Most families, because of that, have no salad on the night of the holiday. Right? You have salad on the holiday? There's no salad.
Come on, ask him that one.
But our traditional dressing is not sweet.
Lemon, salt, and...
No,
lemon.
Traditional dressing is black
oil,
hat
salt,
and a
and
black coat.
No, lemon. That's
traditional
all it's out.
Is that allowed?
You're just saying you get rid of lemons.
You're right.
Yes. We're talking about holiday now. We're talking about Rosh Hashanah.
So lemons are out.
Lemons are basically out, yeah.
And lemonade packed with sugar is out.
No, lemonade's good. It has sugar in it.
You cook it down into what do you call it?
It's tart, though.
No lemons.
Tart. What about that? Now is the only in the night, or it's also the day, the whole holiday?
Then you have different minhagim, different families. Some people want to say it's only first day, some first night, some second day. So everybody has their own gas, but
if somebody made the honey, just don't eat it. Well, just leave it.
Shamble them.
Shamble them and eat it? Or shamble them in bed?
He wants it.
What are you doing? It's a minhag. It's a minhag. You're not supposed to eat it. It'll go out of his mind.
Sleeping?
Can't take naps during
You don't want to have a sleepy year.
Actually, you do.
True?
You wish you had it.
Is there no truth to it or there's no truth to it?
If you're going to sit around BSing all day, go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Right.
Go to sleep.
Basically, if you hate
But
everybody,
let me tell you. Let me all tell you something very important. Everybody talks about, you can't sleep, you can't sleep, you can't sleep. Okay, you can't sleep. Okay, we all agree we could sleep at night, right? And this non-sleeping has to do with the day, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you tell all these people they must wake up before sunrise. Once they sleep a minute after sunrise, they already screwed it. Okay?
No.
Yeah.
Because you're sleeping.
No! You slept during the day.
Life has changed.
No, sorry.
That's a little different. You can't compare.
You asked.
I don't know when
No, but you can't compare. You go to sleep, when you wake up, you wake up.
No.
It's 2 p.m, after you finish lunch, I'm going to go take a nap. That's different than your night sleep.
Nope. You slept during the day.
Yeah,
This is Yom Hadin. You have to jump out. You have to get out of bed early. What do you mean?
For when?
No alarm clock. You get out of bed, you get out of bed.
For what?
Not
The
4
morning?
o'clock.
We're saying there's no alarm clock. You get out of bed, you get out of bed. That's your...
There goes class.
Sunrise is until about 6:30.
Wait a minute.
What's the problem?
You're taking a nap during the day, right?
He asked, "What's the deal with
napping during the day?"
Sleeping.
Okay.
There is a custom.
You slept from
not
2 to
pushing.
5.
I'm not pushing the. If you're going to sit around BSing all day, go to
Still
sleep.
sleep. Okay.
Fine.
Now you slept. So what were you saying? Where you have to wake
I was
up?
saying all the people that tell you you're not allowed to sleep, you're not allowed to sleep. Make sure you tell those people. Make sure that they wake up before sunrise. Because if they sleep after sunrise, that's it.
Done.
Yeah, no sleeping during the day. Didn't you just say that?
They're sleeping Shavuot night.
But you know, the rest of the world is sleeping then, so it's allowed. It's a time when
That
people
only
don't
works for you,
sleep.
David.
No, it's the custom of everybody sleeping that time is considered sleeping time.
No, doesn't work that way.
Right?
We're off next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, come over for some grapes and watermelon.
That's funny.
I should be successful with.
I should have.
What?
I should be married.
Yeah, what about?
I think you should have a printout, yo.
What does it say? Hey, what is it?